This is The Weekly on ClickOrlando.com with Justin Warmoth.
Good morning and happy Easter. I'm Justin Warmoth. Persistence, creativity, and experience. 3 words that I'd use to describe a recent investigation by News 6's Mike DeForest that uncovered Governor DeSantis delayed the release of certain public records. Mike is here this morning to take us through that process from the initial request to the roadblocks he dodged and why it's important to Floridians. Mike, fascinating investigative journalism here. I think it's important because this is such a long timeline, a year-long timeline, that we start with what ultimately you uncovered when it comes to this public records request.
Plain and simple, we got the governor's office to acknowledge that it is delaying the release of certain public records so the governor can conduct a review of these records. There's been speculation among journalists for many years, even dating back to the Rick Scott administration, of when we submit a public records request and we don't get it back right away, is it going to the governor's office so the governor can look at it before giving to us? At the end of this investigation, we got the governor's office to admit, yes, that is exactly what is going on. They put it in a written statement. Now, perhaps it's been released in court during lawsuits or things like that, but to my knowledge, this is the first time the governor has acknowledged, yes, I am delaying the release of public records so I can look at them first.
Now, to be clear, the governor is allowed to do this.
Legal experts say no.
No.
And here's the thing. Florida law is, some would say, very clear that there are only certain circumstances that you can delay the release of public records. And I think before we get into this, I want to explain why this is so important to people. Obviously, journalists like myself, we're the ones who are primarily requesting public records. But since the early 1900s, the Florida legislature found that it was important to put in the Public Records Act, a law that creates transparency, that basically says every citizen of Florida has the right to look at government records. After all, you're paying for them as a taxpayer. This is your government. You have a right to see what's going on. One example, I mean, even though we're the ones as journalists who are typically the ones requesting them, every citizen has a right. If you want to go to your police department and you want to get a police report from the burglary that happened down the street, that is a public records request. That is a government document that you're entitled to. Obviously, most records produced by the government belong to the people, and there's this transparency, sunshine. And some believe that by these laws being in place, there's less shenanigans going on in the government because everybody can see exactly what's going on. And that's why these laws are important, and why these same laws say there should not be an unreasonable delay in producing these records. After all, if you're delaying them, Florida law says that's unlawful.
Right. Back to my previous question, when it comes to the governor being allowed to do this, what I meant to say is he's allowed to review public records.
There's no question the governor can review public records.
He is a citizen of the state of Florida.
He is a citizen like you or me. All of us have the right to look at public records. What is key about what we found is, does the governor have the right to delay the release of those records so he can look at them first? And we've talked to several open government experts, the First Amendment Foundation and the Florida Center for Government Accountability, both nonprofit organizations that advocate for that transparency in government. And they say, no, the law does not allow this. The law allows only very certain reasons why the government can delay releasing records. And what the governor did, they say, is not among them. You know where else you can find those rules? The Office of Attorney General Ashley Moody. The Attorney General's office, in conjunction with one of these nonprofit organizations, the First Amendment Foundation, publishes on the Attorney General's website, it's called The Government in the Sunshine Manual. I use this all the time, but it's out there for every citizen to see. And it outlines all of your rights to attend public meetings, like your town council meeting, or ability to get public records. And of course, I cut right to the chapter that is most important to this, and it's about delays. And citing a Florida Supreme Court decision, this manual, again, published by Attorney General Ashley Moody, says the only delay in producing records permitted under the law is the limited amount of time it takes the custodian to retrieve the record and delete portions of the record that are exempt. In other words, the only delay is the time it takes for them to gather them up and then go through those records and black out any information that is illegal for the government to release. For example, Social Security numbers, credit card numbers, the home address of a law enforcement officer. There is a growing list of things that are not allowed to be released in public records. But that's the only delay, is the time it takes to retrieve them and to black out exempt information. So says the law, so says these organizations that follow the law.
And really, that was the red flag that you saw, because your request, I mean, you didn't know this at the time, but it turned out to be 3 months later, as we get into the timeline of this, seemingly very easy. And this was a quick thing to do. They redacted some stuff. It wasn't some long, drawn-out redaction. That's what caught your attention at first, right?
Exactly. And so let me give you the story. This specific example that allowed us to finally force the governor to admit, yes, I'm looking at these records. So it was about a year ago. We've been following the investigation into former Seminole County tax collector Joel Greenberg, and there have been published reports. Politico and other national news organizations have shown that they've been reporting that beyond Joel Greenberg, there are other people involved in this federal investigation, such as Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, and then also Halsey Beshears. That's another name that's popped up in these publications tied to this federal investigation. Halsey Beshears, he is a former state legislator. When Governor Ron DeSantis took office, he became the secretary for Florida's licensing agency, the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, DBPR. I'm going to call it DBPR throughout the rest of this. Yeah. He was the secretary of DBPR. He was the one who was overseeing bars during the COVID pandemic and whether bars should be open. So he was a familiar face during the pandemic. Abruptly, in January of 2021, abruptly resigned, citing health issues. And that may be true. But months after he resigned, all these published reports started surfacing saying he was linked into this federal investigation. Well, that's where I come in. I was curious, while he was secretary of this state agency, how was he spending taxpayer money? And so if you work for a company and you have to fill out an expense report to use company dollars, if you're going on a trip, or say I buy some things and then I'm reimbursed by my company and I turn in an expense report, well, government officials do the same thing, except it's taxpayer money. So I wanted to find out, how was he spending taxpayer money while in office? So I requested his expense reports. These, again, are public records. Every citizen in Florida has the right to look at this. Now, DBPR, the state's licensing agency, is an investigative reporter. I deal with that agency all the time. If I need a construction contractor license, they usually get it to me very quick. A pool builder's license, I can get it really quick. The same agency was the same one that would regulate the greyhound racing industry. I would get those records sometimes a week or two, sometimes in a day. So I thought, let me get the former secretary, Halsey Beshears' expense reports. A week go by, 2 weeks go by, 1 month goes by, and I still don't have these. And this is odd for me, because usually this agency is very good about turning them over. And I'm wondering, why is it taking so long? Well, back to our Government in the Sunshine manual that you can find on the Attorney General's website. It points out that in Florida law, an agency doesn't just have to make you printed copies or a PDF file. You have the right to actually look at these in person, either in the government's office or at a different location. You don't need copies. You can come look at these records in person. So I wrote DBPR and said, hey, I want an appointment to sit down in your office. I'll travel to Tallahassee, 4 hours away, to look at these expense reports. Crickets. No answer from DBPR. I'm dealing with their communications office, their press secretary. And normally, they're pretty open about why there might be a delay in receiving records. In this case, they weren't telling us anything, and that tingled my spidey senses. I knew something was wrong.
And this is where things got interesting, so stick around. We'll continue the conversation with News 6 investigator Mike DeForest right after this.
This is The Weekly on ClickOrlando.com with Justin Warmoth.
Welcome back as News 6 investigator Mike DeForest breaks down his public records request with the Department of Business and Professional Regulations and how he uncovered that request was delayed by Governor DeSantis. We pick up the timeline right after News 6 published an article in July that DBPR was withholding public records.
Coincidentally or not, 1 week after we published this story, DBPR says, oh, here's your records. Now, because of the delay involved, I'm expecting it's going to be hundreds of pages with tons of redactions of confidential information blocked out. No, it was 61 pages. It took me just a few minutes to leaf through them. As for those redactions where you cover up Social Security numbers, I counted about 25 little black boxes. And again, this was for former Secretary Halsey Beshears, who was in charge of the licensing agency and how he spent money. Nothing really jumped out at me as newsworthy. Now, maybe in the future we may go back and see something, but at this point, there really wasn't much to them. It was a dead issue. But it was nagging at me. Why did it take 3 months for this agency to produce these records? Why did they ignore my emails wanting an in-person viewing of them? Something wasn't right.
Roadblock after roadblock after
And unusual, because I've dealt with this agency
Right.
before and didn't have this. So
Right.
something was unusual. Why was it? Well, I go back to, there has been rumors among journalists and others that sometimes these might get sent to the governor, but I never personally had proof that the governor was sitting on these. But I thought, you know what, on a whim, I submitted another public records request. And I asked the governor's office, give me all records that's in your office as the governor related to this request I sent over here to DBPR. 4 months later, the governor gets back to me and says, we have no records. So basically, by saying that, it's indicating we have nothing in our office saying that we got your records from DBPR. That's the way I took it. So I thought, oh, I guess my theory was wrong. I guess these didn't go to the governor.
And this was around November.
Yes. I had to wait several months.
Right.
So
it started in April. This is around November at this point
Yeah.
where they say, hey, we don't have anything.
Yeah. And now I'm thinking, okay, the governor didn't have them. Dude, DeForest, give up. This isn't a big deal. Just let it go.
You have other things you're doing.
Other things I need to do. But it was nagging at me.
Yeah.
Why did it take so long? Why did they ignore my requests for an in-person? There was still that spidey sense that something wasn't right. So I'm like, well, I should have done this in the first place. I went to DBPR and asked for all certain records. I wanted to see how my request, when I asked for these expense reports, did they travel through this state agency? It took about 3 months to finally get those. When I finally got them, though, there was a treasure trove. And in a nutshell, what these records told me was that those expense reports from former Secretary Beshears, they were compiled by the agency within days of me asking for them. Some of them within hours. I think I submitted my request for these at 10 o'clock in the morning. By 5 o'clock, a DBPR staffer was emailing somebody else saying, hey, I already got this, that, and the other thing. We'll try to get the rest next week. So we knew that now that they had them right away. Well, you go back to the Government and the Sunshine Manual and all those laws, and they say that the only delay is the time it takes for them to retrieve the records, and here they were retrieved, and the time it takes for them to redact information. And I have since learned that DBPR did do those redactions very soon.
So after you have this knowledge, right?
I have this knowledge. So based on what I'm seeing, they should have given them to me within a week or two.
Right. But what you didn't know is why.
Well,
or where.
I thought...
Maybe that's
I was
better.
able to track, through records I obtained, I was able to track my request through DBPR, and all of a sudden I noticed on some documentation that my records are, quote, with Kim for review. And these records show that my documents were with Kim for review for more than 2 months. Well, who's Kim? So I emailed the spokesperson for DBPR, hey, obscure question. Who's Kim? What's her last name and what's her title? I just wanted to find out who she was and why was she holding on to my records for more than 2 months. No response. A couple days later, hey, who's Kim? No response. Well, it's important to note, we're familiar with this in our industry. The governor and many of the agencies have spokespeople paid for with taxpayer dollars, but they are not legally required to answer our questions. What they are legally required to do is turn over public records. So I started thinking, what is a public record that would identify who Kim is? Well, everybody in government writes emails. And you know how at the bottom it'll have your signature with your full name and maybe your title, or in the email address it may show what office she was from. So I put in a request for Kim's most recent email. The most recent email in their possession from her. Under the law, they would have to turn that over to me. Again, coincidentally or not, a few days later, the spokesperson for DBPR writes me back and says, oh, sorry. Here's Kim. Here's her last name. She works for the executive office of the governor.
Bingo.
Boom. So now I had the paper trail that proved that DBPR had compiled these records within days, which is what it seemed reasonable. That's what it would have taken. Experts and Florida and the Sunshine Manual say at that point they should have handed them over to me. But instead, my records took a 2+ month detour at the governor's office. And that's what this ultimately uncovered, is us questioning the governor. And they said, yes, that's what we did.
Right. And so then what someone, and I'm sure your email inbox would probably, you have a few of these emails, certainly after the story hit clickorlando.com saying, oh, what's the big deal? You didn't find anything. Like, why should we, again, goes back to our original point of why this is such an important thing and why the public, you at home, should care.
Exactly. And I know that this is probably insider baseball, maybe even a little self-serving, because, again, us as journalists are the ones who exercise these public records laws the most. But every citizen has these rights. And, again, these laws were put in place by the Florida legislature more than 100 years ago to ensure transparency. If you're not following the laws, then, in essence, you're not promoting the transparency in government that these laws are intended to produce. Why else is it important? Well, in this case, yes, the records we obtained from the former DBPR secretary, I think it's fair to say that at this stage, they weren't newsworthy.
Sure.
But what if they were? We had to wait 3 months for them. Well, maybe 3 months is a long time, maybe it's not, it depends on who you are. I have another records request with a different state agency. I'm waiting 6 months. My colleague Eric Sandoval is approaching 1 year waiting for some state records. Will those be relevant once he receives them? Will it still be noteworthy? Will the people that they involve still be in office when you finally get them? And then there is always the question that if they're being delayed, are they being withheld? Again, I go back to what's on the Attorney General's office website, and it says, an agency's unjustified delay in producing public records constitutes an unlawful refusal to provide access to those records. So if you delay them, you might as well be not giving them to me at all.
News delayed, news denied.
That's not Mike DeForest saying that. That's this document on the Attorney General's website. And so
what's next? What do you think comes next?
I don't know. So the governor has now admitted in writing that, yes, certain public records, and let me tell you what he says. He says that it is entirely appropriate for the governor to review these records to ensure the accuracy and correctness of the record. Now, you may be thinking, that seems reasonable. He's our elected leader of the state. He should have a right to do this. Maybe you think he should have it, but Florida law, according to the experts we've talked to, say, no, he doesn't have that right. He could ask the legislature to give him that right, but he doesn't have it right now. But he's claiming, yes, I do have that right. And the reason I'm delaying them from turning him over right away is because the records might concern the governor. These are his words. Or there is reason to believe that the governor may be asked about information in the records. In other words, I requested these expense reports from the former DBPR secretary. Could the governor wanted to take a look at them first? So if at a press conference I was going to ask the governor questions about these, he'd be prepared. It's reasonable why he would want to be prepared. The question is, does he have the legal authority to delay giving them to me? Several legal experts say no. This Attorney General report seems to imply no. The governor, in fact, I asked the governor, what gives you the legal authority to override Florida's public records laws? No response. Perhaps his lawyers, Governor DeSantis is a lawyer himself, perhaps he's found a legal justification that he can do this. But he hasn't explained it to us. He hasn't explained it to the public. And perhaps he's waiting for it to get challenged in court. So in terms of what happens next, I don't know. The other thing I think many are hopeful is that we have shown a light on this practice happening at the governor's office, and maybe they won't do it in the future. I know that's probably naively optimistic.
Investigative journalism at its finest. And my thanks to Mike for his time this week to read his entire report on the governor delaying the release of public records. And for a closer look at the documents, just head to clickorlando.com/investigators. I'm Justin Warmoth. Hope you have a great Easter Sunday.